So round number one, Tamika, how the heck did you end up as
The
Associate Administrator of the Office of Entrepreneurial Development of the SBA?
Yeah,
What's your background?
Gosh, yeah. So in the 2001, actually, I was in Colorado, which is where I'm from, and I started a business incubator. So that was actually at the beginning of kind of the business incubation movement where people didn't really know what incubators were. So I started a business incubator in Northeast Denver. And so that's how I really got into the entrepreneurial space. We had a 26,000 square foot facility. You know, I designed the program, recruited all of the companies in there, and I did that for a few years. And then from there, moved over to run the Small Business Center at the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce. And it was while I was running that organization at the chamber when in 2012 it was named the #1 in the nation. So SBA supports about 1,000 small business centers across the nation.
Wow.
And in 2012 the one that I ran was named the #1. And I used to say it's the #1 in the universe, you know. So anyway, there was an event where there was a high-ranking public official from SBA who was traveling to Colorado. So I went to the event and I said, "Hi, I'm Tamika. I run the #1 small business center in the world," you know. And he was like, "Okay, who are you?" And so we got to talking, and through that relationship, we just met and we kind of resonated with one another. And so I went to DC to accept the award. He was like, "When you come to DC, let's chat, because I just think you would be great for the agency."
Yeah.
So we chatted and got the award, and then went back to Denver, and I had actually left the Small Business Development Center because I had been there for about 7 years and was ready for a change, and was appointed to be the executive director of the Denver Leadership Foundation, which is a business civic engagement foundation. So I became the head of that. And it was while that happened that I got a call from him, and he said, "Hey, remember when I said that I thought you would be really great for this agency?" He said, "You know, the president has just gotten reelected." So that was in, so when he called me, it was in about August
2011?
2012.
Okay, 2012.
2012. And he said, you know, "I would love to just have a conversation with you about, you know, some things." And at first I was like, no, I'm sorry, I got my dates wrong. So I started my new job in August 2012. Then I heard from him. He reached out to me in 2013 is what it was. He reached out to me in 2013. So I had not been on my job for a full year when he reached out to me. And after the conversation, I went out to DC, met with the president's personnel office, all of kind of the political appointees at the Small Business Administration, and that happened in about March of 2013. And then by June of 2013, they offered me an appointment, and by August of 2013, I had started in that role.
That's so cool.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, how the story develops.
Yeah.
So, you know, in my head, I have to ask this. Do you get to just like sit around a table with like President Obama?
I
and just
wish.
Chit chat, entrepreneurship? No? Okay.
No. That would have been my boss at the time, which was the SB administrator, who's the secretary, who was, you know, the secretary level, and her name was Maria Contreras Sweet. So that's her role.
Got it. Well, that's President Obama's loss. So.
Yeah.
Very cool. I caught something that was really interesting. You said your incubator was 26,000 square feet.
Yes, it was.
That's how big the Lurn Center is.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's 26,000
I didn't know that. Yep, 26,000.
It's like we're meant to be talking here. Yeah. So did you head that? Did you start that? Was that an entrepreneurial venture for you?
So no, what happened was when I moved back to Colorado at the end of 2000, and I met a woman who ran a community development corporation that would renovate blighted property.
Okay.
And there was this property that was 37 acres, and it had about a total of, I want to say, I always get this number, I think 659,000 square feet of space amongst like 13 different buildings. And the main building was this 26,000 square foot facility. And she said, "You know what, I would like an incubator on this building." So I was like, "Hey, I could do that for you." Yeah, I can do that. And so it wasn't renovated. So I kind of led the completion of the renovation, designed all of the programming. And so it was a small organization. I think it was like maybe 5 of us. But yeah, it was her initial vision. And so on this, she had the incubator. She had a space where she had a bank put itself there, and she wanted like a health facility, and then in the back was industrial space.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and then somehow you ended up here on the Fighting Entrepreneur podcast.
I did, which is exciting.
Very cool. Well, we want to talk about, I think since you left as in your role, you decided to stay in the DC area.
I did.
Which is great. And what led you to then saying you want to go after raising entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just think it's funny how life works. So back in 2000, I was actually here in the DC metro area. So I was working at the Department of Justice. I was a presidential management fellow at that time, and working for the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. And I had decided I wanted to work in youth entrepreneurship. So I quit the government because I was like, okay, this is not for me in government. So I quit, moved back to Colorado with the intention of doing and starting an organization around youth entrepreneurship. And I think it's because I didn't want to focus on the delinquency side, which is what I was doing in justice. And so but then I met the woman, her name is Bert Weston, about starting this incubator, which was adults, focused on adults. And so my whole track in terms of focusing on youth kind of went away until I had kids. And so when I had children, my husband and I were really intentional about wanting to raise kids. And we have boys who are self-reliant and who know how to take ownership and have initiative. And so we had just begun to do certain things with them, to try to foster that. And so when I finished the administration, I decided to take a sabbatical. It was like, I just need time because it's a very frenetic pace. So I took some time off, and during that time I said, you know what, I think I want to write a book on raising entrepreneurs. And so I said, maybe what I'll do is I'll talk with families who've done this so I can learn from them. And it was during those conversations that I said, you know what, this should be a podcast. And so that's how it turned into a podcast.
Wait, well, what is the name of your podcast? I'm sure everyone's going to want to listen.
Raising Entrepreneurs. Easy enough.
Raising Entrepreneurs. So make sure you go to iTunes and type in Raising Entrepreneurs and listen, because we're just doing one episode, but you can listen to this. What is it, weekly? How often?
Every other week we put out an episode.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, I love that you're doing this.
Thank you.
So just so everyone knows, we had a meeting before where you and your husband, you do this business fair. Mm-hmm. And so last year, I think it was Kelly, right? Kelly introduced us?
Kelly.
Yeah, so Kelly, so shout out to Kelly. Kelly introduces us. She's like, hey, this couple, I know they run this business fair for children, and, would you like to support? They're looking for sponsors. My hand was already up before she was done. I was like, yeah, that would be so cool. And I wanted to sponsor just so I could go play. Like, I wanted to be hanging out with the kids. And we did it last year, and it was so much fun. And actually, I had so much fun that my only request for sponsoring this year was I don't want to be a judge. Because as a judge, I was like, I only get to participate with like 20% of the, and I can't have fun. I want to be a coach. Like, I want to be there earlier and leave later, and I want to help. And such a success. Kids got to sell their products. I think my wife bought half of them.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, so we were just having a lot of fun. And then this year when it came up again, we evolved, and I said, can we use this Lurn Center space and bring the kids in sooner to teach them and to help them present better, to help them, learn basically how to pitch, which is, oh my God, what an important skill in life, not even for entrepreneurs. So we were sitting and we were working out what are we going to teach? It's coming up very soon. And you just had such an awesome plan. Like, it's like you can tell you've lived it and you know it. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about how you can implement what we basically spoke about. And then I want everyone here to understand, this. I don't really pitch on this podcast, but if you're watching on YouTube, I'm holding up this book right now, Beyond the Lemonade Stand, which is such a great title because my first business was a lemonade stand, right? And fortunately, I went beyond it. And so here's how you can grab this, okay? If you want the digital version of this, Lurn has published it. This is awesome. We'll be publishing so much more with Tamika, hopefully. Go to learn.com or learnworkshop.com, learnworkshop.com/raising. RAISING. There you will see the link to the virtual one and to their website to get the physical copy of it, which I highly recommend you get. We're going to be working through this today. You can also go to their website, raisingentrepreneurs.co, and support them as we are here. Tamika, let's move to round number 2.
Okay.